ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Caged Review. My name is Kevin Jackwitz, and today I'm going to do my non-spoiler review for Solo, a Star Wars movie. So being that it's non-spoiler, please, if you're in the comments, don't leave any spoilers for anybody. Have respect for people who have not seen this that don't want it spoiled. Now, having said that, there seems to be a lot of people who have no interest in seeing this movie, including a lot of Star Wars fans. I think this movie is getting a lot of backlash, and I think it's kind of unwarranted backlash because people are judging everything off of what happened with The Last Jedi. Now, I agree that The Last Jedi was an absolute farce. They had zero plot construction, some very poorly thought out scenes, and completely changing characters that really are some of the most loved characters in all of cinematic history. And what they did with Luke Skywalker was absolutely horrible. But that has generated a lot of heat for Kathleen Kennedy and a lot of people that are the driving force behind the Star Wars movies. And that has shown in the box office because so far, honestly, this movie has bombed. Solo so far, in its opening 4-day weekend, has made $103 million. And a lot of people would be like, well, $103 million, that's nothing to be sad about. But for Disney, and for the Star Wars franchise in particular, it actually really is something to be sad about. Not the least of which is the movie cost $250 million to make. So far, you're not even close to catching up to what you spent on the movie. And that's just the movie cost. That's not even the marketing campaign. So there's a lot that needs to happen for this movie to be financially good for Disney. So let's get into the movie. I'm going to not do a whole lot of talking about the movie itself. I'm going to save that for the spoiler review because there are things that I do want to say about it that I clearly can't say here. The first thing I want to say, though, is that I honestly do believe that this movie is getting some heat unfairly. Going into this, I tried to keep an open mind. I'm not a big Star Wars fan like some people, but I completely agree with The Last Jedi and the backlash that got. I think they did so much wrong with that movie. Coming into this one, I felt like it was a very good, fun ride. It was a typical summer blockbuster where, it's visually very entertaining. They did miss the mark on some things, but I think, honestly, a lot of this heat is generated from The Last Jedi and not Solo itself. I think that it was a good movie. Not a great movie. It certainly had some problems, some plot points that didn't really make sense to me. But it was an entertaining ride. And I think that, honestly, one of the highlights of the movie is Han Solo himself. Alden Ehrenreich, I hope I'm saying that right. I really like that when you first start the movie, it's not necessarily the Han Solo that we kind of know, this jaded, smart-ass, quick-whipping guy. But toward the end of the movie, that's kind of who it evolves into, and I think Alden does a great job. It's a very nuanced performance at times, and in other times, just a really fun performance. When he meets Chewbacca for the first time, there was a moment there that I really, really liked. And of course, I'll just get into that in the spoiler review. So, I think they did a good job casting the lead. Alden Ehrenreich, as far as I'm concerned, really killed it. He was easily one of the highlights of the movie for me. And part of the reason for that is his relationship with Chewbacca. You kind of see it begin and evolve in this movie, and it was very fun to see. Some of the interaction between those two was just really, really cool. Sometimes really funny, a couple of times a little bit endearing. And honestly, I really like what they did with a side storyline with Chewbacca. It was cool. I liked that they threw it in there. So Solo and Chewie kind of make this movie, and to be honest, it is Solo, so it only makes sense. Um, as far as the main antagonist, sometimes it can be very one-dimensional, and it seems like in The Last Jedi, they really showed how they can screw up a main villain. But I have to say that I really liked Paul Bettany in this movie. He plays Dryden Voss, who is one of the higher ups in the Empire, and I really liked his performance in a couple of scenes in particular. And I mean, you knew he wasn't gonna last. You knew he wasn't gonna make it to the end. I mean, come on, this is fucking a prequel from a long time ago. So they have to figure out ways to work that. That's obvious. Like if you don't know that, then you don't understand movies at all. But yeah, Dryden. He was your atypical villain, but I think Paul Bettany's performance, especially in a couple of the fight scenes, some of the facial inflections, it was really, really good. So I like that. I thought that he was another good part of the movie. Donald Glover, Donald Glover is a really, really good actor, and I see that he was trying to capture some of the cool swag of Lando. It's weird because sometimes I felt like it was really good, and then other times I felt like it was just kind of missing the mark. There was nothing stand out about the performance for me, and I think that was the problem. Lando Calrissian is, one of the big names in the Star Wars movies, and like I said, just this really cool character. And Donald Glover was trying to match the original version in a lot of ways, and I just don't know that it worked for me. And I don't know what the separation is there, because honestly, I've been struggling to figure it out. I can't place it, but there was just something that was just not quite what I wanted to see there. And like I said, Donald Glover is a really great actor. But honestly, in this movie, I see a lot of that. I see a lot of really good actors and actresses that just miss the mark. And it's not that they're doing a bad job in the acting. It's like, I watched somebody doing a review earlier, and they said that it was like for Woody Harrelson's character specifically, they said it was like Woody Harrelson playing Woody Harrelson walking through a Star Wars movie. And I had to think about that for a sec, but that's kind of how it was. It was a good job for what he did, but it was like there was no acting out as a different character. It was just him being himself in character as Beckett, which really, it didn't completely take me away because I like Woody Harrelson and I like him as an actor. So it wasn't a terrible thing, but in terms of like acting out a character, it was just like being yourself. So I don't know that really sold over very well. And I think that was true with Donald Glover. I think that was true with Woody Harrelson, Emilia Clarke. Emilia Clarke's character, is very cute. I don't want to say happy-go-lucky, but she's always smiling, and she's always the one that makes you want to smile, and but that's Emilia Clarke. If you've ever seen her in interviews and shit, she's got this very magnetic personality. And for this character, I just don't know that fit at all, to be very honest. Because of things that we'd have to get into in the spoiler review, I don't know that being the smiley, happy-go-lucky persona really fits this at all. And there's so much of this movie where she just all smiles and, you would think she didn't have a care in the world. So, it tears me in two different directions, because there were things that were very good with it. There were things that they could have done a lot better. just kicking back and shutting your brain off and enjoying the movie for what it is, it was a good movie. It had some very cool special effects. It had some very cool action sequences. The train, whatever you want to call it, thing that they were doing the fight on, when you saw that in the trailer, it was cool and it looked very good. But as far as performance and a couple of plot holes, it really took away from it. So I'm not going to get into this too much, like I said, because I feel like if I talk too much, I'm going to say too much. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a conclusion, and we'll talk more about it in the spoiler review. So overall, I mean, it was a good movie. It was not a great movie. It kept me entertained. There were certain things I had big question marks over, though, while sitting in the chair, trying to suspend disbelief, and it's like kind of hard a couple of times. So I guess I'm leaning somewhere between a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Good, entertaining, good performances, some things left to be desired. I guess I'll go middle of the road. We'll say 6.5 out of 10. And that's where I'm standing with Solo, a Star Wars movie, entertaining, with problems. We'll get into the spoiler talk here very soon. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know there's a lot of people who aren't even going to see this movie because of what happened in earlier movies. And they may have just killed the Star Wars franchise, because with the way this movie is doing right now, they're going to be hard-pressed to keep up. So I hope they get it right. I hope they fix this. I hope they, maybe make some changes internally, and that'll set it on a better path. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Cage Review. Cage Nation out.